obviously, I think we can all attest to the fact that when we listen to music, we oftentimes don't really pay attention to what's going on. We just think, oh, this sounds nice, this sounds bad, I like it, I don't like it. But actually, when we are listening to music, we don't realize that the sounds, the melodies, the rhythms we are listening to have their own political ramifications. And that being said, in Music 313, we address the way we hear the politics of hearing itself. So our social lives, as we know, are full of listening to debates, to speeches, to protests. And so something as simple as listening to our peers, it's a part of who we are and our genetic makeup. So that's a little bit about what I'll be talking about today.
That's interesting. Wait, so when you brought this topic to me, I was under the impression that we were going to talk more about lyricism, but you're talking about the actual sound, the frequencies, the audio itself. That's interesting.
Well,
what does that have to do with political agendas, or I mean, to one polarizing effect, propaganda?
It's a conspiracy, Pete. They're out to get us.
Totally. It's basically political topics and sound are affiliated with the way we listen to each other, or rather do not listen to each other. And how they tie back into our whole political climate and how we address each other, how we communicate. There's sort of dialogue we have between each other.
So they influence our behavior or how we behave with others?
In a way, yes, depending on
what kind of behavioral influence do you think occurs?
Well, let's say if we were to listen to a song, right, by a certain artist, what they're trying to say to us through that music can affect the way we act or portray ourselves based on if we agree with the beliefs or the ideas they're trying to bring about through their lyrics.
So their lyrics do play a part.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer, I would assume. But what about with the melody itself? Does the melody have any role in that? Or I just want to make sure I'm understanding this perfectly.
I mean, regarding certain melodies, if you were to have a softer melody or tone that wouldn't be as harsh, I guess, regarding your emotions, you could say that with a softer melody, it would relax you more, you wouldn't be so inclined to act out a certain way, as opposed to if you were listening to something sort of harsher, it would stir within you, I guess.
No, of course. It makes sense. You're not going to listen to death metal and be walking in the park, right? You're going to be trying to lift 500 pounds off the rack in the gym.
Like gym music, yes, exactly.
Okay, I think I get it then. So it has to do with the overall energy that the music is portraying in a way. Because I mean, we both know how much I like music.
EDM?
I mean, yeah, sure. But there are some songs that are high in energy that you can just tell given by BPM, and there are some songs that are lower in energy. And it's pretty obvious, you can tell. So I guess, is there something that has to do with the energy of a song that affects political disposition?
I wouldn't necessarily say the energy, because what you're referring to now has to do with the frequency of music. So let's say the certain hertz music is tuned to or pitched to. But what I mean when I say the political affiliations a song may have is that the way we listen to or fail to listen to each other has become sort of the central aspect of contemporary socio-political culture, not only here in the US, but all over the globe for the past decade or so. And we see this come about from certain protests or debates that have been occurring, especially more than ever in the past year, with the new political climate we are dealing with.
Gotcha.
But how does the music relate to political debates and all this discussion about stuff?
Well, if we were to take a look back, for an example, if we were to take a look back last May with the tragic death of George Floyd and the BLM protests that emerged, all these new artists
emerged. They came out.
Yeah, like how the BLM protest started.
Yeah,
because of George Floyd's. Well, not because of George Floyd's death. It was happening for years, but it kind of sort of.
It was
it was brought to the forefront a little more.
It was the grain of hay that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of enhanced more. So basically, what I mean is like through their lyrics, through their music, these artists are engaging others to like come about. And when I say it relates, what I mean is that these artists, they're singing from experience. So basically, if we take the BLM protests, for example, and like the ties to George Floyd and whatever, what I mean to say is how like this genre of protest music has been acknowledging these social injustices that have been occurring, and how it affects us to sort of act out, well, not act out, to like act a certain way because we are listening to these lyrics that the artists are portraying.
Okay, so I want to get this straight. So it's actually pretty commonplace to see artists speaking from their own personal experiences. I know that earlier on in his career, Eminem wrote a lot of his lyrics based on his adolescence and, young adult life.
And real life experience.
Yeah, he did. Especially, like, 8 Mile was a movie based on his real life experience. So it's definitely commonplace that artists will be doing stuff like that. Do you have an example of someone in a more contemporary fashion? So someone nowadays, over the last 12 months, that has released a song that has been more of a call to action for some people, or just a prime example of protest music?
Well, and those TikToks with cringe.
I was going to mention that.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
I was going to mention TikTok. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you guys know this song, but This Is America by Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
It was used heavily during the Black Lives Matter movement.
Right.
And I don't know if you guys are on TikTok either.
No.
I kind of am sometimes. So when that was happening back in May, I would see most of the content, I would say like 90% of the content I was seeing was centered around using that one song and making videos out of it. So basically, This Is America by Childish Gambino was used, and people taking videos of people looting stores and setting fires to city, like as we saw back when the BLM first emerged. And if you take a close listen to some of the lyrics, Childish Gambino says in the song, like, "This is America, this is how I'm living now, police in my area," like that kind of references what we're talking about here with political injustices, and how this is like a true example of how we listen to or fail to listen to each other in regards to political topics in sound.
What are you thinking, Pete? I see thoughts in your eyes.
Thoughts in my eyes? I've got a lot of thoughts. I mean, I'm not going to hit you with the question I wanted to ask you just yet. I think we still need to delve a little bit deeper into this topic. But I mean, I'm not on TikTok, so I don't necessarily know how many TikToks were made with the song "This Is America," but I can tell
quite
you
a lot of TikToks.
Yeah, when our good old friend Donald Glover, he's not our friend, but when Childish Gambino dropped that song in 2018 or 2017 maybe, I don't remember exactly, but it was my freshman year. People went nuts. Like, I mean, people went crazy. I woke up one day and this was the #1 trending video on YouTube. And this was like an overnight sensation type of thing. And I just remember watching it and be like, whoa, that was disturbing. It was very much an accurate representation of what I think a lot of people go through, which is just horribly unfortunate, but, it's a sad truth. So I wonder, aside from that song, do you have any other artists or examples that you think have done so? Because that song is a huge cultural phenomenon within the US. Like, everybody that listens to music nowadays knows that song for sure. Like, you wouldn't meet someone, or not even because of the song itself, but you wouldn't meet someone that has never heard of the video, maybe, or a lot of the content of that music video. Like stuff that happens, like where he's pretending to shoot another man with a bag over his head. Mm-hmm. He's preaching in the choir, preaching the gospel in the choir together, and then they all get machine gunned down. Stuff like that is really, really disturbing stuff to watch at first, but then you got to look deeper. So, what are some of those, I guess, deeper things that you saw in that video that you think are exemplified within our nation's culture? And I guess what are some other examples that I'm just wondering if you have any?
I mean, regarding the video, as you said, it was very controversial because of the way it was filmed and what he was trying to portray within that video. Like, as you just said, with him with the mask on, like, pointing the guns, trying to shoot someone. Protests, like, this whole genre of protest music has been on the rise, like I said, over the past year because of everything that's been happening in the news or just, like, in our environment around us. But I wouldn't necessarily say I have another specific example, but lots of artists have just been addressing more political and social problems in their music as opposed to before, where most artists would just kind of talk about their love lives or anything else in their music. But now you just have like these more of like these social injustices being talked about and brought to light that otherwise you would have not known of, because people our age, not all people pay attention to the news, right? But music is this one universal thing that we all have. We all listen to music every single day. So I think this is also important because this is a great way to bring about what we don't know and to talk about things that are happening that we may not know because we are all listening to music. So one way or another, we will find out what is happening if these artists continue to bring them to light in their songs.
I feel like, and maybe I'm stupid for like asking or thinking this, but like during like the Vietnam War, there were songs made regarding the war, regarding the draft, regarding the soldiers. Like Born in the USA was like a really famous song.
Apocalypse Now.
What?
Apocalypse Now as well. You remember that song?
I probably
like
do. I don't know songs
riff
by name because I'm uncultured, but that's beside the point. The point is, decades ago, there were social issues in the country of America and the world, and artists back in even decades ago, artists were making songs based on political issues. So I feel this is maybe a similar thing where we're in a tense political environment and people are expressing themselves in many ways, one of those ways being music.